What's going on, everyone? So first, Jared Vanderbilt, now Christian Wood. Christian Wood is definitely going to miss at least a good chunk of the beginning of the season. He is supposed to be reevaluated in 8 weeks, so you're looking at like first month of the season. Most likely he's going to be out. Jared Vanderbilt, on the other hand, we don't know what's going to happen as far as the season begins. He's expected to miss training camp. He's expected to miss preseason, but that doesn't mean that he won't be available come the regular season. But you also don't want to rush Jared Vanderbilt in, right? If he's kind of a little shaky, right, and he's still not quite there yet, you want him to be as 100% as possible, right? Because last thing you want is him coming back, a week or two in, he gets hurt again, and now he's missing even more time. Or, he opted not to have the surgery on his foot, right, which is kind of concerning because it may cause this complications. At least Christian Wood, he decided, hey, you know what, let me go get this surgery so that way he can get right, he can get his body right, and then hopefully finish out the season. Jared Vanderbilt, you're hoping that this doesn't become a persistent foot issue. And, every month or whatever, he's dealing with this nagging foot injury. We need the best version of Jared Vanderbilt as possible. So we'll see. We'll see how it plays out. We'll see how it develops with Jared Vanderbilt. Hopefully he's back sooner rather than later. But again, take your time. You don't want to rush him and now he's hurt or something along those lines. But this is where I think Dalton Knecht is going to really get his opportunity. I think he was going to be part of the rotation. I think he was going to play. But one of my big questions is like how much and what type of role. Right, if he's coming in and he's playing 8 to 10 minutes a game and just kind of, slotted in various, kind of just off-ball positions, really, and he's not really in the thick of the offense. Also, if he's just kind of this guy that, hey, Austin Reeves is getting the night off. Dalton, you get to get some extra minutes at the 2 or, as opposed to just the 3, right? Like, there's the questions of, like, the fit and the role that he would get this upcoming season. Well, when Jared Vanderbilt and that news came out, it was like, okay, this is a good opportunity for Dalton Knecht. I also think this is going to be a good opportunity for Dalton Knecht because of Christian Wood also. Now, obviously, Dalton Knecht's not going to be playing center or anything like that, but you have more likely than not, D'Lo, Reeves, Rui, LeBron, and AD are probably going to be your starting 5 again, particularly with Jared Vanderbilt out, Christian Wood, right? Like, you're probably going with that lineup, that group. But you lose Christian Wood, who can be your 5 and your backup 4 alongside LeBron James, which means now you need to find kind of backup minutes when LeBron goes to the bench, which I think you're going to see Rui kind of slide over, right? So say the 7-minute mark, LeBron comes out the game, maybe Rui slides over to the 4, and then now you bring in your backup 3, which is probably going to be Dalton Knecht, at least to start, right? So now he slots in, he comes in, and he gets some minutes at the 3, and then, at times with LeBron at the 4, you'll see Dalton Knecht at the 3, right? Because it's like, okay, well, now we got to get Rui some rest. We got to get Rui some, minutes on the bench and let him kind of rest. So Dalton, you're going to get some heavy play. So I think more likely than not, this is going to benefit Dalton Knecht more than anybody because now you have essentially a backup 4 and a backup 3 who are now both out for some time. We'll see how long. And Dalton Knecht can kind of slide in and kind of fill in the gap for both of those guys. Obviously not in the position again. I want to make that clear. I don't see Dalton Knecht sliding over and playing the 4. But if you have some of the guys that were expected to play the 3 now sliding over and play the 4, such as Rui, well, then now Dalton Knecht's going to get more minutes in that 3 spot. This kind of has the Austin Reeves emergence feel to it, right? Like Austin Reeves was just kind of another guy. It was like, oh man, hopefully he can become something, right? He had some moments, he showed some flashes, right? And it was like, oh, okay, like, give it a couple years and he might be there, right? Well, then LeBron gets hurt. We're dealing with a bunch of injuries, right? Somebody needs to come in and step up. Austin Reeves slides in. He ends up starting, and he just took advantage of it, right? So much so that then he actually became part of the starters and now had a big role last year and was a big part of us getting to the conference finals, 2 seasons ago now, and then is expected to have a big role this year. It's kind of what this feels like, right? Like you're kind of having these players missing and out, and now you're getting a young guy who is expected to come in and have an immediate impact and be able to actually be a big part of this roster immediately, now is actually going to get the opportunity to prove that he's capable of doing so. I also have the concerns, though. Right, we're going to talk about the positives. We got to talk about some of the potential negatives. Does this become a Taurean Prince thing? Where Taurean Prince was very good for us, but in this little pocket, right? Like Taurean Prince, when he played in this timeline, the Lakers were very good. But as soon as that timeline got extended, the Lakers were very bad, right? Whenever he played more than, what was it? I think it was like 17 minutes or whatever, right? Like the Lakers just dropped off. Were awful. And you saw Darvin Ham just continuously overuse Taurean Prince because we had Jared Vanderbilt out and Christian Wood out and, Cam Reddish at one point. And well, I get that there were a lot of injuries, but you had guys like Max Christie and a few other guys that could have maybe stepped in and kind of played that role, or you could have kind of refigured even your starters, or gone with Jackson Hayes, maybe LeBron at 3 at times. You're trying to not put as much wear and tear on LeBron as possible, but still, you got to do what you got to do, right? If you don't really have an option, it's like, hey, buddy, sorry, we're going to need you to slide over, right? So, my concern is, in this little timeline, is Dalton Knecht great, but as soon as you start extending that, it's like, ooh, where if we need Dalton Knecht to play 15 to 18 minutes, right? It's like, boom. In that 15 to 18 minute range, Lakers are great with Dalton Knecht on the floor. As soon as that gets to the 20 to maybe 25 minute mark, now the Lakers are a liability, and Dalton Knecht, has his struggles, right? He's not as impactful on the court. You see it a lot with just guys, period. It's like, man, when this guy is on the court for 8 minutes, Lakers are really good. But as soon as, or this team or whomever, not even just the Lakers, other teams have that same thing where it's like the data and analytics say, as long as you keep them in this little area, you're good. As soon as you get out of that area, things start going bad and start going bad fast. So the thing that I like about Dalton Knecht is I believe he's more versatile than Taurean Prince. Obviously, we haven't seen him play yet, so that's why I say I think rather than I know, because, again, we got to actually see what he's capable of doing. But what we saw in Summer League, again, I understand it's Summer League, it's not the regular season, very different, but what we saw in the Summer League, I do think a lot of those things will translate. And his versatility, his athleticism, right? They have similar size, but I think you can slot him and he could be more explosive, and especially in that motion style offense, his ability to shoot in rhythm and shoot in motion, but also his ability to create for others, has already shown signs and flashes, maybe even better than Taurean Prince, right? Taurean Prince was kind of that swing man, right? He gets the ball, he'd keep it pushing. Where Dalton Knecht, you saw, he'd get the rebound, he was throwing out the look-ahead pass, he was, running plays and doing all kinds of stuff out there. That can translate to the NBA. I'm not expecting him to come in and be point forward Knecht, but his ability to, hey, he's got the ball, he has options rather than just shoot a three or put the ball on the deck, get to the basket. He can, again, do both of those things, but he can also kind of set it up, get the guy, cutter comes, boom, let me feed the cutter, or hey, let me create, boom, guy, trails, comes around the back, boom, I kick it out, right? There's just more options there. You can put him as the screen man, run some pick and pops, run some pick and rolls. He's got great agility, especially in lane, getting to the basket, but also that mid-range, I think is the big difference between him and Prince, right? Prince last year was primarily 3 or put the ball on the deck and get to the basket and try to either create contact or finish at the rim. Dalton Knecht has the ability to do either. He's also more athletic and more explosive. So I do think he'll be able to get to the rim, finish through contact, and potentially draw and get to the foul line. But one thing Taurean Prince wasn't good at last year was essentially stopping on a dime, rising up and shooting over the top, or just shooting in the mid-range period. He tried on occasion, but he just wasn't very good last season. So, to me, I think Dalton Knecht, his ability to catch the ball and whether he's getting hot or not, but use the pump fake to kind of now blow by the defender and then, kind of put him on his hip and then rise up. Or if the help comes, he can just shoot over the top, stop on a dime and just shoot over the top of the defender. I think that just adds another layer and facet to the team in general that you just don't get with Taurean Prince. So I do think that this is a very good opportunity for Dalton Knecht to really kind of, just prove what has he got. I would, if I'm being honest, prefer this like mid-season or a little close, like 25, 30 games in, just because by then Dalton Knecht probably has a better understanding and feel for the game. Probably has a better kind of like he's got a better understanding for the pace, the physicality, like all those things, right? When you're first coming in, you're kind of trying to figure things out, trying to map things out, right? Defensively, I think he's going to be a little bit of a risk right now, but maybe he gets better as the season progresses. I would prefer that happen, 30 games in to where it's like, okay, now Dalton Knecht has to play a big role, but that's fine. He's comfortable. He's ready to go. Let's do this. Rather than like, hey, buddy, you're just getting thrown into the fire. Good luck. You're about to sink or swim, right? You don't know how to swim yet? Guess what? You're going to have to figure it out, right? Like those types of things. Hey, some guys, that's what they're best at. Again, look at Austin Reeves. He kind of just got thrusted into the season. But he also got thrusted towards the end of the season or the middle of the season, right? So it was, again, he kind of had that feel. Plus, he played a season prior, right? So he already had the feel. He already had kind of the adjustment. He kind of understood certain elements of just being on the basketball court, positioning and stuff like that, way defenses are going to look at him. But also an advantage that Dalton Knecht has is there is no tape, right? There is no real, defensive scheme for Dalton Knecht. And teams aren't even going to really worry about him right now, just like Austin Reeves in that first year. No one really was game planning for Austin Reeves. But then you started saying, like, okay, we need to attack Austin Reeves. We need to do this, right? This is where he likes to go. Hey, he's not shooting well, sag off of him, so he can't just get into the teeth. These are his spots. Like, you saw defenses kind of prepare for him. So Dalton Knecht kind of gets that advantage to where he can kind of like, hey, there is no film, there is no tape. Defenses aren't going to really know how to defend me. They're not going to be putting their best defensive guy on me. They're probably going to be putting their fourth best guy on me, if that, right? So let me kind of exploit that and take advantage. So I think we're going to learn a lot about Dalton Knecht sooner rather than later, and hopefully it works out great. I believe in Dalton Knecht. I'm not going to have a ceiling for him year one because I don't know, right? Maybe I think. Like the over-under right now is 9.5. I think that's good. Like I talked about that. I think he's an 8-point-a-game guy, or he's like 10. I think he's kind of in that like 10 to 8 or 8 to 10 range. But at the same time, I'm not going to put a cap on him, right? Like, if he can go be a 12 to 15-point-a-game guy, great. Let's go. Let's go be a 12 to 15-point-a-game guy. But it also comes down to usage, role, minutes, opportunity, right? How many attempts does he get? All of that. We'll see how it plays out. But anyway, as always, this is a discussion, and I pass the question on to you. Let me know your thoughts and opinions down in the comments below. What do you think? How do you feel? What are your thoughts? Do you have a lot of faith and belief in Dalton Knecht? Do you think that he's going to really thrive? Like, yes, he's going to get the opportunity right out the gate. I've seen some people say, like, hey, the Lakers should start him. I wouldn't do that personally. That's just me. I would rather just stick with Rui because it works with Rui, right? Like, if Dalton Knecht really does, like, let's say he does start cooking and he is great and he is able to defend well and he is able to do a lot of things that Rui can't at the three, then yeah, sure, by all means. But to start, like, no, I'd rather, last thing we need is to go on a bad start to the season, right? We got to kind of go with what we know works, get it out there. And then if you need to make that adjustment at some point, right? Dalton Knecht's just becoming too good. You just can't, you have no choice. You got to keep him on the court, then make that adjustment and figure it out from there. But again, however you feel, whatever your thoughts are, I'd love to hear it. So let me know down in the comments below. That being said, if you haven't liked this video, hit that like button. Helps me out. So we enjoy these types of videos and I truly appreciate it. Not subscribe channel, hit that subscribe button. Turn on the bell notifications. Appreciate y'all. See you in the next one. Thank you.